Hello everybody, this is Dinah Rose and I'm here to bring you another review for Love and Marriage Huntsville. This is the final episode, the finale, and it's episode 19. This episode moved really, I think quickly. I think it's really because everything, for the most part, everything was taped at the video premiere party for Melody. So they attempted to bring closure to some of the outstanding friendship issues that was happening, but there was still a lot that went unanswered, so I will share my thoughts on that at the end of the review. So the scene opens with Melody. She's at her office. She's talking to her assistant about the details for the premiere party for Telltale Signs. And she makes it a point of saying that she is inviting everybody that is important to her, but she is not inviting Martell. So she said he brings the drama wherever they go. And they do this little flashback of everything that's happened during the season. And we got to see Martell for the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh time basically show all of his behind. The biggest thing was for me watching him puff up, like he had this little stance like he was going to do something, like Big Daddy Kane in the Vapors video. He had this just bulked up, I'm about to give it to you stance. And at one point, I believe in Vegas, they had to call people in to help restrain him. Now, I don't know if he was going to hit her or not. She never made a comment about it, so maybe she's protecting him or whatever she's doing. However, I will say this. He looked like a clown. If anything ugly happened in this season, it was the fact that people had to hold him back from Melody. So you're making it a point from the time you step onto the camera this season, all of your clothes are too tight. You're working out clearly till your muscles burst. And you're sitting around here standing over Melody like you're going to do something to her because you don't like that she said to you, whatever, that you have another baby, or all things that are true, by the way. But every time she says it, you get yourself all, out of shape, and to a point where you want to think that you're going to make it physical with her. And she never thought so. She looked at you like you were a damn fool, but you did look like a fool as well. So I hope that's something you regret later when, if you have an opportunity to look at it. I don't know if people look at themselves on video, but if your mama, whomever, got a chance to talk to you about what that season looked like, I hope you don't do it again because it was awful. Another thing that you did that I didn't even notice during the first time it aired was last season during the launch party of Black, when Melody said, "Did you fire your lawyer? Because sign the papers. I did everything I need to do. Sign the papers." You literally clutched your pearls and was like, "Why are you effing saying that? I'm trying to sign the mother effing papers. Why are you saying that?" You screamed it, but you did it in a way that made you look like a Karen. And I was like, who knew that? I didn't even know black men had inner Karens. You do, Martell. So go ahead and take that out your repertoire too, because it was an awful look for you. Awful look. But anyway, fast forward. Tiffany arrives at Melody's office, and she is there to help her interview interns. But before they get on that discussion, Tiffany says, I had a little interesting meeting with Tisha. She pulled me aside, and she point blank asked me to share something negative about myself. What's my dirt? Because I know everything about them, but they don't know anything about me. And Melody is in shock, like, pardon? Like, she told you what? What were her exact words? And she's like, yeah, that's exactly what she said. Give me your dirt. I don't know anything negative about you. So that was wild when, Tisha asked a question. Y'all also have been on the season this is y'all third season. This was Tiffany's first season. That's number one. Number two, all your dirt is out there because the internet, for whatever reason, knows some of your dirt, and they like to make inferences about things that they don't know. So that's another thing. You might be shamed about it, but if you, work hard enough, you could probably find some things about Tiffany as well. She gave you some not so dirt about cheating in high school. And I don't know why she said that at that point. All she had to say was, at the very minimum, none of your business, or find out for yourself. It would have at least made her seem more interesting. Unfortunately, what she said made her seem very, very boring. So her position on the show might be on the chopping block, according to some of the previews that they aired for the reunion. But anyway, fast forward, they, wrap up that discussion. Melody apologizes to her for having that experience. Not sure. Melody's feeling really, I don't know, motherly toward Tiffany, maybe. It's a friendship group, and they've had a friendship with each other for a very, very long time, meaning not Melody and Tiffany, but Melody and Tisha and Marceau and Kimmy. According to Melody, they've known each other for many years, and they were all really, really good friends before they started taping the show. So Tiffany is trying to insert herself into a very well-formed group. So maybe that's why she's apologizing to her. I'm just guessing, trying to give somebody a little bit of, leeway there. So next scene, we are at the premiere party. It's being, the party's at Melody's house. Of course, everybody's running around still trying to get things together. It is an all-white themed party. She has a full staff, and the interns are on deck. So everybody's helping getting it together. Melody is getting her hair and makeup done. Her mom is in the room keeping her company, making sure that she keeps her cool with everything. And while that's happening, everyone is drinking, having a good time. That's all the rest of the friends that were invited. They are on the red carpet, chit-chatting, laughing it up. And then out of nowhere, Tiffany asks to the group, hey, where's Martell? Upon that, Destiny immediately jumps on her. Why in the hell would Melody invite Martell here? And she was like, I don't know. I just expected him to be here. So in confessional, Tiffany is basically giving, the cameraman and whoever is watching, this is why I really don't like this is what, Destiny's doing. This is why I really don't like Tiffany. Because Tiffany, she turns into a dunce. What does she mean? She is the main one who's always saying Melody and Martell are fighting when they're together. Now, all of a sudden, she's acting like a complete doofus. I expected him to be here at one of Melody's, the biggest event in Melody's career. She's launching a video. You know what I mean? So she's like, I'm tired of her. And then, because we did get to see the one scene between Tiffany and Destiny where Destiny shared a lot more about herself, I grew up in foster care, things like that. We know sometimes people with that type of background can always be in survival mode. There's a lot of reasons to always be in survival mode, but that may be one of them for Tiffany. She is kind of always analyzing people and trying to figure them out. And for her, Tiffany's just always on stupid and she don't like it. Okay. So that is that's a pin in her bonnet. She don't like her. So, back to the party, back to the group. Maurice is trying to, break the ice and get everybody off edge there. Cause they all laughed at Tiffany when she asked, where was Martell? But he's like, yo, speaking of, things that's going on. Me and my wife are going on our honeymoon finally after 3 years, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's like whooping it up. And he went, yeah, it looks like Destiny, however, beat me to the punch with buying a honeymoon trip. So everybody's still cracking up. Kimmy, puts everybody's mind to rest. Well, me and my husband are going on a honeymoon, and then me and Destiny, we might be able to go as a girlfriend's trip or whatever. Somehow, Miss Wanda, because she's Miss Wanda, misunderstands that conversation and she's like, oh, don't invite no woman to your on your honeymoon. You gonna invite another woman on your honeymoon? She's like, Wanda J. Blige. That's who she is. So everybody's kind of looking at her like, what? Why? Where did you get that? But she heard a little bit and ran with it. So people get her together. They get her corrected, and then Destiny, to keep the fun going, says, yo, Miss Wanda, well, since I'm the only single one here, you have any advice for me as a single woman? So Miss Wanda tells her, oh, okay, yeah, I got some advice for you. She's so excited somebody asked her an opinion. So she was like, well, the first thing you got to do is keep your butterfly right. So she starts shimmying her shoulders a little bit, what she could shimmy. And then she started trying to twist her thigh in and out, mocking that little, I think it was 1990 something dance. Destiny starts doing it too. So she's sitting here spinning her legs back and forth, mimicking the dance. And Marceau is like, how did I I inherit this family? But he's laughing. He's literally laughing at Miss Wanda, not with her at all. So he was like, yeah, you got any other advice? Just your butterfly. And butterfly, by the way, is, another way of saying the sex. So he was like, well, any other advice? And she was like, well, you got to have good communication, good motivation, and a butterfly. So he was like, so let me get this right. You need to have communication, motivation, and sex. Which one's more important? So now everybody's howling because they're like, what is she talking about? Somehow, again, a conversation that's completely eluded Tiffany. She was like, don't forget the butterfly. Well, Tiffany, the butterfly is the sex. Like, what is wrong with you? I hope Lewis whispered it into your ear because you're like 10 years behind right now. So they're all cracking up still. And Marceau says, listen, the first advice I should give you is to never ask Wanda for advice. Like, that's the dumbest thing you can do in the world. Don't do that again. Okay? But they're all yapping and dapping it up. And Marceau's like, so is that how you keep your husband and your boyfriend, basically? And she was like, yeah. He was like, does your husband and boyfriend have, a side chick or something to that extent? And she was like, no, I'm not like these young girls. There's only me. I'm the only one. And for whatever the word side chick, when the word side chick happened, that literally Miss Kimmy's ears just perked right on up. And she was like, listen, why is it every time we get together, we have to bring up side chicks? Like, it never fails. And that just sends her on a tangent. So she's like, I mean, I'm not for sure why we're not getting what Kimmy's getting when she hears the word side chick, but it really bothers her that people have insinuated she was a side chick. So she says, I had someone to vindicate me. Miss Patricia, she was supposed to be here tonight, and I hate that she's not here. But Patricia, who just happens to be an ex-sister-in-law of Marceau and Maurice, this woman was married to their brother. She was the one who introduced Kimmy to Maurice. And apparently Kimmy and this woman, Patricia, have been friends for over 20 years. Okay? And during that 20-year time span, I don't guess she's heard the name Maurice or knew the Scott family. I'm not sure. But she's like, I didn't know anything about Maurice. Even though you were very close friends with this woman, and at one point, Maurice was sleeping in this woman's basement for many months, maybe a year, after he had filed for divorce and left the state of Michigan to come back to Huntsville. So Kimmy wants us to think, I'm not saying she's lying, that she didn't know anything about it, but she's out here. She wants to put all the details out here. She attempted to put them out there with the last episode where everybody was kind of confused, because I know I was like, whoa, it seemed like you and Kiowa had squashed y'all beef and y'all was on better terms. This is opening up a whole nother can of worms, and I don't know if that's good or bad, but okay, interesting. I'm thinking bad because you and Kiowa had a pretty rocky relationship. But whatever. She gets it out there and she lets everybody know, I am not a side chick. This is how this relationship started. Maurice, I didn't meet Maurice until a year after he filed for divorce. Not when the divorce finalized, but a year after he had filed for divorce. At least that's what Maurice says. And then even after that, they probably didn't start dating for another year after that. And then Kimmy made it a point of saying, and because you were sowing your wild oats, I didn't want to be with you. So there's that. Add that into the mix as well. So Maurice just laughed it off, and that's how that scene ended. It was pretty sad, actually. But we flash back to Mel. She's in her bedroom. She has, I guess, a little bit nervous about the event. And also, it's an hour and some change behind. So she's like, I'm ready to go. She's not getting any type of, I guess, details from her team letting her know what's going on. So she's a little agitated. Her mom is trying to keep her cool. And, she's playing around with her a little bit. You want to dance? Let's do something. Melody's like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want you to go outside until I know it's time to go. I just want us to, stay up here and be cool. But, I'm tired of waiting. I feel like all these balls should have been in play. So I hope it wasn't the interns who messed anything up, because she wasn't that happy. But, everybody has the jitters for things when they have a big event or something that's supposed to go down. So anywho, they all end up, at least Melody's mom, we see her in the next scene. She is downstairs and she's mingling with the crowd. And Miss Wanda comes over to her and says, can I talk to you for a minute? And Miss Vanessa says, do I have to? Because I don't really care about anything you have to say, okay? Anyway, Miss Wanda and Miss Vanessa stepped to the side, and Miss Vanessa got a popping. And she just basically said, listen, don't give my daughter any more advice. She doesn't need to hear anything from you. And she went on to tell her, keep my name out your mouth. Anything you hear in the streets or the internet about me, put a muzzle on it, because I promise you, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Well, Miss Wanda said whatever she hears in the streets or sees on the internet is fair game. She's going to mention it because that's just who she is. And then she goes from that to saying it takes a village to raise a child. And I was completely confused because Mel is a grown-ass woman. She's already been raised. So I don't know where Miss Wanda was coming from that, but she treats Tisha like a child, so I guess she sees Melody as a child. Either way, Miss Vanessa was like, Melody's my child. We have different parenting skills. Mind your business. I promise you I mind mine because I don't care about what's going on with yours. And that's how that scene ended. In confessional, after it was very clear that Miss Vanessa shooed Wanda like a fly, Miss Wanda is in confessional saying, well, she need to shake a bone and get a hell on, blah, 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 which I do enjoy that little phrase, but mainly it's because that's what Marceau said to her when he kicked her out of his house. And I will never forget it. Let it always go down in history as a day Miss Wanda got kicked out the house, and he was saying every phrase he could think of. Don't let the doorknob hit you or split you with a good Lord. It was all kinds of stuff. So I was cracking up because Martell had really got Miss Wanda's goat. And it was very clear that, excuse me, not Martell, Marceau got Miss Wanda's goat. And it's very clear that Miss Vanessa also got it, okay? So after that little situation, Melody's video, she is finally downstairs with the crowd taking pictures, enjoying all the party festivities, and she introduces her video, which was very well received. Everybody loved it. There wasn't like, people were clapping, screaming, singing along, so it really was a situation where she got exactly what she wanted from that video. I did find it interesting that everybody kept saying, oh, the video is about Martell. I mean, the song is called Tell, T-E-L-L, Tell, T-A-L-E, Signs, which I always thought was a play on words with Martell and, hey, this fool, and I'm singing about it. I mean, it opens it up like it's lucky we have kids because this could have really turned out different for you. So even after that, everybody's kind of, ooh, well, give that man his credit. This was about him. This woman lived, I won't say it was all bad, but she had some problems in this marriage, which clearly led to divorce. Why wouldn't it be about him? She is, getting her artistic creativity out there and singing a song. And for everybody to be pretending like y'all didn't know it was about him and that she said it wasn't about him. She absolutely said it was about him. She was like, it's not only about you. This song is to empower other women who are going through things that's similar to what, I had went through. So she never denied that, but it's just people hear what they want to hear when they don't want somebody to be great. That's pretty much it. So there's that. After the video, Destiny pulls Melody aside to congratulate her, but she also wanted to tell her that she's mad at her for not acknowledging that she doesn't have a village in Huntsville. So I didn't really understand what was happening here. I listened to this a couple of times and I'm still unsure what she needed from Melody. But at some point, Destiny said, I know that you have a village, but instead of dropping your kids off with other people, just drop them off with me. And I thought that she was, I thought that was her trying to help out Martell a little bit, because Martell was like, you got too many people helping the kids. Now, Melody said, yeah, I do have a big village. I'm lucky, I'm blessed. I was able to cultivate one. You'll cultivate a village as well, and I'm a part of your village. Then Destiny was like, well, you're, I'm a part of your village too. And she was like, yeah, I don't need that. Listen, at some point she was like, listen, Destiny, you brought me over here to say that I was mocking you or telling you that you don't have a village. I'm saying to you that I'm a part of your village. You call me, I will be there. I will help you whenever I need to. But this conversation has flipped into something else, and I don't know what it is, but I'm not doing it. She was like, well, you could bring your kids to me. Melody said, hey, my kids ain't checking for you. They don't like you. Furthermore, in confessional, she says, Destiny is newly divorced. She has a new baby and a new business. I'm not dropping 4 of my kids off to you. Which was another reason why I feel like, because Destiny and Martell are still friends, he might have like put something in her ear like, oh, I don't get to see the kids when she's with, when they're with Melody's mama. Why don't you take them? Then I can do this, I can do that. Whatever. It was a very manipulative conversation. Melody caught on to it right away and was like, I'm done with this. I'm done with this conversation. This is a celebration for me. You could have brought this up any other day except for tonight after my video. I'm going back up front, and that's what she did. And Destiny knew she was wrong because she looked real cheap after the whole situation. So there's that. In the final scene, woo, Martell shows up, of course, uninvited. He's wearing all black with a white jacket, with the tightest of white jackets at that. And then he pulls Melody aside to tell her that he just wanted to show her support and let her know that her success contributes to the success of their children. So she's like, okay, that's great. So then he also says, yeah, I wanted to, I didn't want to make an announcement in front of everybody. I just wanted to pull you aside and tell you that. So she's like, that's awesome. I appreciate that. And she sticks her hand out to shake his hand. And when I tell you, that man crumbled into a million pieces when she did that. However, he rehearsed this situation going in his head when he was on his 1,000th time. I'm going to say this way. I'm going to kick my leg up this way. I'm going to do this way. He was fully expecting her to embrace him at the end of that, but she did not. And once he clutched her hand, he accepted her handshake. He literally said, why you do that? Or what the, like, WTF you do that for? Like, he says something nasty, which just lets me know that it was like a whole contrived situation for him to go up there and pretend like he cares about her. He cares about that video, because he doesn't. In confessional, he said he deserved 50% of whatever she makes from the song, because if it wasn't for him, causing her heartbreak, there would be no song. That's how he put it. And then his baby mama said the same thing, that OWN owes her a check, because if it wasn't for her having a illicit affair with Melody's husband, there would be no show. So it's interesting that these two narcissists believe they deserve something for literally putting someone through hell. But what can you do? Hopefully, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that's missing a healthy dose of shame out there. I don't know if they start selling it, but once they do, Martell and that side chick need to drink the whole bottle for sure. So that is how the show ended. Oops, my dog is barking, my bad. Please ignore that. So things that I did not think that they brought any resolution to in this episode was, number one, Kimmy and Maurice. They have some pretty deep communication issues, and I don't know if that little indoor picnic that Maurice had was supposed to be like, here's my little cherry and my little bow, because it wasn't. It was horrible, okay? if the season opens with Maurice excluding Kimmy on really important decisions about Monster or things that's going on with Monster, he's calling his ex-wife to tell her about it, but he didn't tell Kimmy about it, and she lives in the house with him. So she's getting attacked out in the streets feeling stupid when people are bringing her information that she should have received at home. We still didn't really see a resolution of that because they just blamed Tiffany like it was her problem, and somehow Kimmy got on board with that, like, you shouldn't be telling other people's business. Okay, well, that's one part of it, but the other part is your husband should be telling you y'all business, because he did not. He didn't tell you that you guys weren't going to be living on whatever that estate was, the Scott estate. He didn't tell you that. You thought you was talking about building your dream home. He's like, no, we're not living here. Interesting, because he opened the season saying, I don't know how this is going to work. And, Kimmy and Tisha aren't in the best of places, but, I still want to build here. That was a little lousy. He also clearly doesn't tell her what's going on with Monster still, because he was like, yeah, I'm going to need your help with X, Y, Z, after putting her like in place to oversee the property, the build out of the property. We never got any of that. So I'm hoping that that is something that we will see next season. So a little more clarity between the two of them. Jalen, who was having some serious communication and staffing issues at the restaurant with Marceau and Tisha. We have no idea if that actually got resolved or if Jalen quit. We don't know. Tisha started off the season crying when she saw Marceau hug a woman at the launch party for chocolate in a bottle. Okay. She clearly had a lot of doubt about her relationship. Marceau did one therapy session, one with her. And he basically said, don't ever ask me to do that again because it'll never happen. He is 100% satisfied with Tisha spinning in a whirlpool of doubt. He's not going to do anything to make her feel comfortable in their relationship. No on-camera affection, okay? He refused to renew his vows in Vegas. He did not. He refused to say that he loved her at the chapel or during that crazy game where they were supposed to drink if they don't love who they're with, or however Tiffany said it. So that was interesting. That still didn't get resolved. Marceau pretended to be depressed, of all things, so he could stop Tisha from spending money. And then at the end of it, because he still wanted to make it seem like a money issue, he invited a couple over to provide couples counseling for finance. And in 2 minutes, they told them, your problems ain't got nothing to do with finance. It has to do with communication between the two of you. So back to Dr. Francis you go, okay? And if it's not Dr. Francis, make sure it's somebody, because you sure do deserve it. Pardon me. Martell and Melody. They've carried the weight for this show for the last 3 seasons. The other couples need to step up. So all of the problems that presented itself this season for Marceau and Tisha, and for Maurice and Kimmy, hopefully they can spread that about next season as well if they want to come back. Melody and Martell need some time to heal, so they need to pull apart a little bit, and maybe next year we can just kind of see them successfully co-parent, because that's really what needs to happen. I don't remember a thing about Louis and Tiffany. I think their deepest problem was that Louis didn't wait for her to get off work so she can take the boy to get his hair cut or something like that. It was something stupid. I know that. And Destiny literally gave us nothing. She was frustrated with Tiffany the entire season, Tiffany and Melody, and she play flirted with Kimmy. So I'm going to ask Destiny to step it up as well. Every couple on this show, and the non-couples, including Destiny, y'all get y'all stuff together. Bring a better storyline for yourselves next year, because Melody and Martell need to step back and heal a little bit, okay? So that was it for that. My boy Carlos King will be hosting. He is taking the Andy Cohen position, and he will be asking the questions this season. And I am here for it, because he clearly knows a lot of things that we don't get to see, that don't make the final cut. So he get to ask those questions and really bring the audience in a little more on what's going down with the couples in Huntsville. So that's it. Yay. See you guys for next one.